Hello. Hi everybody. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me at the back? Can you hear me? Tony, turn me up. Turn me up a bit. Technical difficulties, you understand. My name's Adam. I'm Laura's favourite cousin. Favourite of all of the cousins. Some might say. No, in fact, it's only me that says that. Only me. But I like to believe it. Laura and I were born thousands of miles apart. Her in America and me in Ireland, but we were born one day apart. So that kind of, although I love all of my cousins, I don't really have any favourites. The fact is that we were born so close together, so in time wise, that I kind of considered Laura to be sort of my one day apart birthday twin. I know it's not an officially recognised thing, but it certainly gave me a kind of a bond with Laura that's quite special. The first time I ever met Laura, or first time I recall ever meeting Laura, I think we were about eight years old or something like that, back in 1981, when my Auntie Ruth was getting married to a chap called Brian. He's now known as Uncle Brian. And when the wedding preparations were in full swing, our great Aunt Ivy was to make or alter and do sorts of things with the bridesmaid dresses. And if you're to believe any kind of family folklore here, the dresses, the sizing and things like that was quite a complicated affair. You can imagine the measurements being, to and fro to America and Ireland. But apparently Laura and I were very similar size, and there was some sort of cajoling and getting on to get me to try this bridesmaid dress on for a fitting. I'm going to deny that never happened. No. If you ask my Aunt Ruth or Susie, my mother, or my sister, they all claim it happened, but there's no photographs, so never happened. Don't worry. Forget it. In fact, forget I even mentioned it. Laura became quite a frequent visitor to Ireland, and I think she next returned when she was about 16 or 17 years of age with her good friend Jeanette. Hi Jeanette, how are you? Hope everything's going well for you. Might not be after everybody sees this picture, but they say a picture tells a story of about 1,000 words. So I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to put this picture up, and you can all make up your own minds. There's, just to be warned, there's like a lot of hair. There's a lot of hair on this photo. See what I mean about the hair? The next time that Laura came over, it wasn't that long. I think it was maybe when she was about 20. Our grandfather, her grandpa Boston, as he was known to her, and Papa, as he was known to us, had passed away. And just to sort of give you the backstory of this, as a child, kids do say funny things, and much to the consternation of grown-ups, of course, but it keeps life interesting. My grandfather was always very, very handy. He used to make and fix and build lots of things, and growing up it was always fascinating to me. And he always had a lovely penknife or pocket knife, and I asked him just outright, I said, "Papa, whenever you die, can I have that?" And he said, "Oh no." He says, "First in line, your Uncle Tom, he has to get that first, and then your Uncle Moore, he would be next in line for it. So you'll have a bit of a wait to get it, and then you'll get it after your Uncle Moore." So I always kept this in the back of my mind. Not an important thing, but it was always there. I like to remember conversations and experiences, of course, like everybody. But whenever we were clearing away some of my grandfather's things, at the house, Laura came across one of my grandfather's pocket knives, and she asked, could she have that? And it brought me back to that conversation that I'd had with my grandfather, and it made me smile that that I had asked for this one thing, and Laura she'd no idea of that conversation that I'd had, and she asked for the very same thing, and it just it made me smile and made me laugh. I didn't have an awful long wait to see Laura again, and all of the family in America, because Ruth, my Aunt Ruth, and my mum and I took a trip out, and we were fortunate enough it was going to be coinciding with Laura and my 21st birthday. So I got to have my birthday with my family in America, who hadn't really been able to celebrate any birthdays or Christmases beforehand, and as family members do, like to tease and make fun of each other. And the day of my birthday, we were heading out for breakfast somewhere. This is not a thing that we do in Ireland particularly. We don't go out for breakfast, but we happened to go out for breakfast, and I was reading my birthday cards in Laura's car, and one particular card, and you have to forgive me, I'm going to do an impression of her, and it sounds good in my head, it might not sound good to you guys, but the card basically says, "Don't open this card. Under no circumstances is this card to be opened." So I, looked at Laura with a big serious face. That's I better put that away. And I set it up on her dashboard, and she was like, "Yeah, open it. Let me see what it says." And she said, "No. Did you not see the outside?" And I held the card up to her. And I said, Look. It said not to open the card. And this went on for a good long time, all the way down the road. And we finally got to the place where we were having breakfast, and she started to reach across the dashboard for the car, and I snatched it out of her hands, and she goes, "Open it!" And so it just kind of made me laugh that it was frustrating her that much. I mean, I'd seen cards like this before, everybody has, we kind of know what the punchline's going to be, but that was a special time. The girls had got me some tickets to go and see the Blue Man Group in Boston, and they'd also got me vouchers for Newbury Comics, and I bought myself a lovely thermal mug, which I still use today. In fact, I am using it today. You can see me. So Newbury Comics, there you go. There's your plug. This podcast is sponsored by Newbury Comics, and and maybe ramen noodles. Laura loved the ramen noodles. You can't get them over here. We have a different brand of noodles over here. But Blue Man Group was great as well. We went with Steve, Amy's husband. Hi, Steve. And Jessica's Uncle Jimmy. He came along. He also got me a birthday card with a scratch card. He had no need to do that. He'd never met me before. It was awesome. Laura and myself, of course, went. There was a couple of other guys we met while we were at that show, but I'm not sure who they were. I have to apologise for that. Normally I remember people I meet and things like that. So you can stay anonymous for now. You know who you are, or maybe you don't. Laura's Auntie Susie asked me to share a couple of memories they had, and it was basically the trip that they had when Tony had proposed to Laura, and he did so in a very romantic spot on the west coast of Ireland, the Cliffs of Moher. You could probably look that up on Google or Google Maps or somewhere, and you'll see it's absolutely beautiful scenery and very romantic spot in Ireland for that sort of thing. And they were both, well, I can't speak for Tony, but Laura was certainly very excited to share that news with her family, and I think they cut short their trip in the south of Ireland by a couple of days to race up and see everybody. There's a bit of political unrest in the country at the time. If you're not familiar with your Irish history, I'm not going to bore you with it, but essentially the tensions were running high at that particular time, and because Tony was designated drinker, he doesn't drive stick shift, you see. They were driving up the road, and there were certain roadblocks put in place by the disenfranchised or the troublemakers, or whoever you want to call them. And Laura instructed Tony, get out and move that stuff out of the way. And when they told us this, we were absolutely flabbergasted, because flabbergasted, that's not a word you hear every day. We were shocked that they even made it up in one piece, because moving these roadblocks would have been quite a serious thing. You would maybe drive around and find a different way to get there. But they come up and they shared their good news with us, and we were all delighted for them. So of course, being Ireland, we opened a couple of bottles of drink, and Laura and Tony were staying with Auntie Susie at the time, so everybody could be a designated drinker then. And they stayed over, and I think the next morning, it must have been a Sunday, because we live in an area where there's quite a few churches about the place, and the church bells were ringing, to summon all the parishioners. And I don't know what Laura and Tony thought, but they were rudely awoken by these bells, and were kind of asking us what the heck was going on the next day with all that racket. The last little memory that Susie has from that trip in particular was that while there was a certain amount of drink being taken, Tony had decided he was going to, either check the flights or phone home for some reason, but he didn't want to be a burden, to have a large international phone bill, and he decided he was going to call his computer at work and let, I think it's Wildfire, get Wildfire to pick up the call and divert the cost of it, or some sort of fancy computer nonsense. And of course the voice recognition wasn't working, or something wasn't right, and my mum was just going, just phone whoever you want to phone, it's going to be fine, but of course a little bit of drink and a little bit of stubbornness or persistence was taking on board there. And of course my mother isn't that excited about computers or voice recognition software, and of course this did nothing to dispel her belief or non-belief in it. I'm going to finish up now, just a couple of words about the Ireland trip. It was, by all accounts, it was a whirlwind trip for the girls. They had to cram an awful lot in and see an awful lot of people, and there was a lot of demands on their time. The very first day they showed up, they had to drive up from the airport, and Auntie Sandra's sister had arranged a family picnic down at a local beauty spot for them. And by all accounts, it was a nice day, by not raining, but it was quite cold. So by the time they got up to Auntie Ruth's house, which was going to be their base of operations, I think they were all huddled up in fleecy blankets and drinking warm drinks and things like that. But I remember walking in, and Laura had a pink sash with 40th birthday or something on it, and it was just great to see her. And she was kind of having a great time, because the whole Boston clan were there to celebrate our 40th birthday, and it was quite poignant, because by happy accident, we'd already spent our 21st birthdays together, and now we were going to get to spend our 40th birthday together. And it was a great time for everybody. And if you chat to some of the girls from Ireland, or if you trawl through Facebook, you'll see plenty of pictures up there. So not only was it a whirlwind trip in Ireland, the girls, I'm sure, are all here. Put your hands up, girls, ladies, if you're here still. Yeah, go and have a chat to them. They'll tell you all sorts of stories. If you look for a couple of stories, ask about the Boston Beavers quiz team, the how to throw wine around your family and friends, or how to car versus trash can. That's probably a good one as well. So I'm just going to say cheerio now to everybody. Thanks for your attention here. There is an open mic, as far as I know. It might have already been, but if not, do please get up and share some of your memories and stories about Laura. We would all love to hear them, and love you, Laura.